Hey guys, welcome back to the Astrology series. This is its own separate playlist for my YouTube channel. And this is where I'm weaving the stories of the stars and the astrology aspects that are going on currently in the collective's chart. So let's talk about this Aries full moon that we just had and what's coming up, or could be coming up for some of us. You'll have to feel into your own heart and your own path and your own space. But with an Aries full moon, that means that the sun and moon, whenever there's a full moon, they're opposing each other. And the sun was in Libra. So the Aries-Libra axis, and this axis, these two sacred energies at their core bring up a lot around self and other. Aries representing the self, the first house, and Libra representing others, our relationships, and the seventh house. And so whenever there is a moon in Libra or Aries, depending on which side they're in, new moon or full moon, it just really, it brings up a lot around, being rooted in our sense of self, and how being rooted in our sense of self actually brings more harmony and balance to our relationships, or at least this is what I've found. And these are some of the themes that could be alive for you at this time. It is October 7th, 2025. That full moon peaked last night, October 6th. And so, as we kind of feel into Aries and Libra and their dance, and of course, it always depends what sign their rulers are in. That also affects, it just flavors the energy, So a Venus in Virgo, which is currently where Venus sits, and a Mars in Scorpio, it kind of brings an investigative energy, a deepening, getting to the source of things. It can feel like you're cutting away a lot of the excuse my language, but like bullshit, like really like peeling back the layers to see deeper truths about yourself and how that relates to the world around you. Because when we're talking about relationships, we're not just talking about romantic relationships or even, relationships with other people. Sometimes we're talking about, what is my relationship to a belief? What is my relationship to food? What is my relationship to my phone? What is my relationship to nature? What is my relationship to my own body? What is my relationship to joy? What's your relationship with an emotion, right? So like some of us might be really, deep in certain emotions and patterns that we don't even realize that we're not really relating to another emotion, something like joy, right? Allowing more joy and calm and peace and like moments of deep pleasure or ecstasy, and then peace following those moments, those highs. Sometimes we don't allow ourselves to have, weeks where we're just in a state of joy, and to really look at that. And that was just one example of like how you can really kind of go deeper with this. Like, it's not just our relationships with other people, although that is also being highlighted. It's also just this deepening into like our relationship to our environments, our bodies, our thoughts, our beliefs, like everything really. And so, you'll have to feel for you, and you'll have to listen to your own heart and your own thoughts and discover more of yourself in this moment. Maybe you get out a pen and a piece of paper and you write down like, okay, this has been really bugging me the last couple of weeks. Like, this keeps coming up for me. And maybe it's, it could be anything. It could be literally anything. And I want you to ask yourself, as like a journal prompt, what is my relationship to this? Is it a healthy relationship? Do I feel it's a peaceful relationship? Is there conflict? Why is there conflict? Go into the conflict. What is conflicting for you about this thing, this belief, this person, place, or thing, or belief system, or habit, with Venus and Virgo? It could be a habit. It could be a thought pattern that really needs to be broken. There's a lot of breaking some cycles in this full moon as well. I've really noticed for myself, I won't go too deep into my own personal experience with this full moon, but what I've noticed is like, we're really looking at like, I am, that's that Aries energy. It's that first house energy. It's a Mars energy, that I am. And we're breaking any pattern around like, I am this or I am that. And it's like, I'm no longer going to tell myself that I am this. So it is playing with identity a little bit and ego a little bit. There might be some ego death. It's not a Neptunian ego death. It's not a Pisces ego death. It's more of like a literal, like, this version of me is literally dead and a new version of me is being birthed. And this version holds codes to a deeper knowing, truer self that births like this harmonious aspect of ourselves that can dance with the world around us. That includes people, places, things, beliefs, all these things. And it's like, we're literally going to be relating to the world around us in a completely new way as our new I am, right? So I've just noticed for me, it's like, there are certain things that I'm done telling myself, and I'm only going to tell myself the truth of the moment to moment from here on out. And I did have this moment where I was very much like, I couldn't help myself. I just started to close my eyes and just say like, look, I am worthy of love. I am worthy of love, instead of a story of I am not this or I am just this. Like, no, like, I am, like, you're not hearing me. Like, I am worthy of this love. I am worthy of good things. I am worthy of peace. I am worthy of being held. I am worthy of feeling safe in my own body. And that's the story, and that's the new baseline, and that's the frequency that I am now emitting after this death of like a version of myself that just maybe didn't believe in the I am story of like, I am actually doing this. I'm walking into a new story where my sense of self is so rooted in love. My sense of self is so rooted in my truth. So this is really what's kind of been on offer for us to look at and to dive into. So, the full moon just happened. Don't worry, you didn't miss the energy. You can always still journal about this. You can listen to this podcast and go back into it. But it's just something that I wanted to share. And I think I might leave it here. I don't really have too much else to say other than, in order for us to have a healthy relationship with our external reality, we have to have a healthy relationship with ourselves. And we will always be pulled back to ourselves on this path. If you have chosen to walk a path of like transformation or self-discovery or true love or, sacred union or opening up to your spiritual gifts or a purpose in this life, like all these things, becoming the best version of yourself or healthy living or like whatever it is, if you're on a path of sobriety, like all of these things eventually will lead you back to yourself. And so it's important to just maintain that relationship with self throughout your life, and anytime we have anything going on with Aries or Libra or Mars or Venus, it's always going to be this relationship to self and other, and how important it is to love ourselves deeply and have compassion for ourselves and hold space for ourselves and allow ourselves to be imperfect and a mess. And like the depth that you can hold yourself and love yourself is the depth that you can love and hold another, and that just will always be true. It's just a spiritual truth. It's a universal truth. It's just law, of it's innate. It's in our nature to have this relationship to self. Who am I? What do I want? What are my needs and desires? What's my purpose? What am I doing so that when I show up in relationship, I'm not just, here's the shadow, right? Like if I don't have a strong sense of self, that Aries energy, that first house, that Mars, if I don't have that strong sense of self, then I'm either going to try and be something that I'm not for someone so that they'll love me and accept me, right? Or if I don't have a strong sense of self, I just end up feeling lost in someone else's juice, in their own life, in their own purpose, and their own wants and needs and likes, and I just don't have a sense of self. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't have a purpose. I don't know what I want. I don't even know what I need. I'm not manifesting. I'm not creating a life that I love because I'm so detached from myself, and in those moments, we don't show up fully. We can't even contribute to a relationship because we're so detached from our own knowings and our own purpose in this life and our own wants and needs and joys and desires. And it's like this wholeness when you love yourself and you are devoted to yourself and you have this relationship with the divine within you because you were born whole. And the self is not this, selfish narcissism that society would like you to believe. No, the self is the baby that was born in this lifetime, made of love from divine source, from creator. That's the self I'm talking about. I'm talking about the self that is the magic of who you naturally are. Your frequency was chosen to be brought into this world, and there's an innate, frequency to that. You hold your own blueprint. You hold your own identity, your own magic, your own alchemy, your own beauty. You're so beautiful. We as individuals, as our individual selves, are so unique, and it's precious. And when we show up in relationship as our true selves, because we've done the work, that's where magic happens with the world around you. And the shadowy aspect of not having that is you don't get to relate to others, because how can you relate when you don't know who you are? You become them, or you lose yourself, or, there's codependence that can happen. You need this person in order to have some sort of identity. You're always kind of masking with other people's identities because you haven't dove into yourself. You don't know who you are, and it's a sad thing. And I don't wish that on people. I hope that people are brave and they face themselves and they look in the mirror and they say, this is who I am, and I love who I am, and I'm showing up as who I am. And yeah, this full moon is very potent, and it's full of self-actualization and awakening to deeper truths about who you truly are and how you want to show up in your world, how you want to show up for your people, and what needs to die, what identity needs to die so that you can have this newness. And that's the other thing about Aries is all about beginning something new. It's a cardinal sign, so it wants to start something, it wants to begin something, and it's all about purpose. So I really hope that this kind of lights you up, and if you felt like your flame was going out, I hope this gives you some fire, that you specifically, listener, have your own sacred flame. You have your own frequency. You have your own divine purpose. You have your own gifts to give the world. And so I really hope this inspires you to start the thing, do the thing, move, make some movement in your life at this time. Okay, guys, this is God Astrology, and I'm out. I just wanted to check in, tap in, and kind of talk about the Libra Aries axis. I'll see you guys soon. Okay, bye.